Okay, afternoon, everyone. And a warm welcome to the Planning Committee again. The first item on the agenda is any apologies for absence.
I have none, Chair.
No, thank you. Item 2, any disclosures of personal and prejudicial interests. We all have, I think, in item one item there, which is the West Cross application. So all at the form anyway, aren't we? Thank you. Item 3 is the minutes of the previous meeting. Just approve and sign, starting at page 1, page 2, and page 3. If Sunday move is a true record. Thank you. Any items for deferral or withdrawal?
No, Chair.
None. Wonderful. Okay, on to item 5 then is the determination of planning applications under the Town and Country Planning Act, and that one item we have there is in West Cross. Thank you.
Prynawn da and good afternoon, members. There's no updates to report on this item, and this application is being reported to Planning Committee for decision because the application has been submitted by a councillor. Next slide, please, Ian. The site is occupied by a semi-detached property with front garden, driveway and a private garden to the rear, and is located within a predominantly residential area. The street scene is characterised by semi-detached properties of a comparable scale and appearance, and there's a vehicle access lane runs along the northern boundary of the property, serving the rear of nearby properties. Next slide, please, Ian. The aerial image identifies the application property and demonstrates the surrounding context in which the application sites. Next slide, please, Ian. Planning permission is sought for a 2-storey side extension. The original proposal consists of a 2-storey side extension that was to be built in line with the existing front elevation and to match the ridge height of the existing property, as can be seen on the plans on screen there. However, amended plans were submitted on the 6th of June with an amended design which proposed a set down and set back 2-storey extension. Next slide, please, Ian. So the proposed extension is to replace the existing single-storey side projection and will be set down and set back from the main dwelling with a pitched roof, measuring approximately 6.8 metres in height, 2.7 metres in width and 6.5 metres in length. And this will incorporate a bedroom with an ensuite to the first floor and study with shower and utility room to the ground floor. The ground floor extension will comprise of a mono-pitched roof that projects slightly forward of the front elevation and that will align with the existing porch structure. The extension is to be served by a door and a window at ground floor to the rear, 1 window to the first floor rear elevation and 2 windows on the front elevation with no windows located in the side. The proposed materials are to include corrugated metal sheet roofing, black UPVC fascias, soffits, guttering and downpipes, smooth render finish external walls and white UPVC windows and external doors, all to match the existing dwelling. Next slide, please, Ian. The block plan shows that the proposed 2-storey side extension will fill the gap between the main dwelling house and the side boundary. However, the front and rear garden areas and driveway will remain unaffected by the development. Next slide, please, Ian. So the main issues to consider in the determination of this application relate to the impact upon the visual amenity and residential amenities, ecology and highway safety. In terms of visual amenity, the proposed extension measures approximately 50% of the width of the host dwelling and incorporates a set down, set back from the host dwelling in accordance with the design guidance in the Householder Development SPG, which states that a side extension should not dominate or upset the proportions of the main house, and this can be achieved by setting back the extension from the front of the house and dropping its roof height below that of the original house, which is what is being proposed. The extension will also incorporate matching materials to reflect that of the main house, and all of the proposed features are considered to represent a subservient and subordinate addition which does not detract from the main dwelling property. Next slide, please, Ian. In addition, given the scale and appearance of the proposed extension, the balance and visual relationship between the pair of semi-detached properties, as you can see in the top photograph, is considered to be undisturbed and in keeping with the character and appearance of the street scene, as can be seen on the photos on screen. It should also be noted, given the proposed scale of the extension and its location next to the access lane to the north of the site, terracing is not likely to occur as a result of the proposal and is therefore in compliance with policy PS2 and the design guidance in the SPG householder development. Next slide, please, Ian. In terms of residential impact, the adjoining neighbours have been notified of the application along with a site notice displayed at the address, and no comments or objections have been received to date. The extension is to be sited on the opposite side of the dwelling in relation to the adjoining property, so therefore there's not considered to be any unacceptable impacts in terms of overshadowing and overbearing on the adjoining property. And similarly, given the presence of that vehicle access lane to the north of the property, the built mass of the extension is unlikely to introduce unacceptable impacts on number 5. In terms of overlooking, no windows are proposed to the side elevation, and whilst the extension will introduce additional first floor windows to the front and rear elevation, the views towards neighbouring properties are not considered to be any more harmful than the existing views provided by the first floor windows of the main dwelling house. The proposal also results in adequate amenity space to serve the occupiers, and the council's ecologists have been consulted who have raised no objection, and the application does propose the installation of bird boxes as ecological enhancements, and that will be conditioned to ensure they are implemented before the extension is beneficially occupied. There is no impact on parking in terms of parking or highway safety, and therefore, in conclusion, and having regard to all material planning considerations, the application is recommended for approval subject to conditions set out in the agenda pack. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, any member wish to speak, make a contribution? Okay, well, it has been moved, and that the recommendation is approval, and that's been moved. So can we take a vote on that now then, please?
Yeah, Councillor Myra Baker. Peter Black. 4. Phil Downing.
4.
Alan Jeffrey.
4.
Mary Jones.
4.
Mike Lewis.
4.
Richard Lewis.
4.
Nicola Matthews.
4.
Mark Tribe.
4.
Mike White.
4.
Andrew Williams.
4.
And Paul Lloyd.
4.
Unanimous, Chair. 12-4.
Okay, thank you very much. That's been approved, sorry. And then the next item on our agenda then is the exclusion of the public, if somebody would so move. I'm sorry, comment.
Thank you, Chair. Just a quick word from me on this one. First of all, there is a typing error on paragraph 2.1 where it refers to carbonate making the